On this 21st Sunday, we gather praying for the grace to grow our trust in God, who uses multiple ways to open life for his people. And this means that God's love never abandons us. In every situation, his love is reaching out to us in new ways. And these are the new ways that he unlocks at will. The first reading has talked of a man called Shebna, who was a prime minister during the days of Prophet Isaiah. It became clear that Shebna was abusing his office as master of the palace. And if you go and read the verses prior to today's reading, and read from verse 15 to 18, you see how the prophet discloses the corruption of this Shebna. A time came, maybe he got used to the office too much, and he began to feed his own ambitions. Probably he thought of a time when he would die and wanted to leave a landmark. So he went up a hill and began to excavate a tomb. A tomb that was expensively built using people who are poor and suffering, preparing for himself a place of rest on top of a hill, so that people may remember him after his death. Isaiah could not tolerate this. Seeing the plight in which people were and the neediness that was all over the place, he disclosed this abuse of office and he pronounced the inevitable. And this is what we begin with the first reading of today. It became clear that Shebna should not keep this office. And so the prophet told him, God is going to take you out of office. And once you are taken out of office because of your uselessness, he's going to put in place another person, Eliakim, who is more upright, and on him he will replace the keys of authority to govern meaningfully and to open new life for his people. The ceremony was big, I think. Eliakim was dressed in a robe, and around his waist they tied a sash, which are signs of dignity and being invested with power and made ready for action, to act in love, to act in service. And the prophet has added that Eliakim will be father to the kingdom of Jerusalem, to the seat of Jerusalem and the kingdom of Judah. So the keys are given to whomever they are given to be used as a father. And a father is one who provides, who protects, who defends. So Eliakim was put in this place simply to do that. And if one does that, he is opening new life new love, new avenues of allowing people to enter into the life of God in a new way. And I think this is the role for whomever is an authority at every level of life, to be an opener for the people he is in charge of or she's in charge of, an opener to new life. And the Father sent the Son to open people's lives, to understand and enter into the heart of the Father. And here we have in the Gospel a man who was privileged by the Father to understand who Christ is. It was the Spirit that opened the heart of Peter to understand who Christ is. And as Messiah, Jesus came to open our way to the Father. And this is exactly the faith Peter has pronounced solidly, profoundly, without any confusion before the others, that you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Christ is anointed, the anointed one, the one who was waited for ages, who came to reconcile humanity with the Father. And in this way, he opened a new life. As Eliakim opened a new phase of history in the life of the kingdom of Judah, Christ came on earth to open a new phase of life. And this is how God uses every means he has available to him to open new life, new love, new peace, new joy for his people. So God is the denominator in every aspect of life. There is no way we can get rid of him if we are serious about life. And this is how God's love is stably established in the life of his people. And this is what gives Paul a bit of joy today as he gives us his message in the second reading, that God's ways are unfathomable. He uses many, many ways even beyond our understanding, to open avenues through which grace flows into people's lives. When the Jews rejected Christ stubbornly, their indifference resulted into a blessing for the Gentiles. Their indifference created room for the Gentiles to enter. Way into a new way of life was opened. And when persecutions came, a greater way was opened. Christians fled with the gospel, and where they went, they evangelized. These are the ways that Paul admires, ways that are difficult to understand immediately, but are made understood with the time, as the Father gives us the Holy Spirit to open his wisdom. Therefore, we, the present church today, are given the responsibility, as it was given to Peter, to use the key that was given to us from the day of our baptism, to open new avenues of life, new avenues of hope, new avenues of peace, new avenues of love. This is the authority that we have, the authority that we should use most meaningfully in the church, in our families, in our places of work, wherever we are. So as we use this power, God expects of us to settle disagreements that might arise within the faith communities, to clarify what the gospel teaches about human dignity, about life, and about everything that the church teaches in her social teaching. To authoritatively govern the church according to the mind of Christ, and this is the leadership that is behind the keys. To play our roles of sanctifying in the world. When we receive sacraments, when we participate in sacraments, we are contributing to the sanctification of the world. This is our mission, this authority we have. Even the authority to pronounce the name of Christ right away in our homes, that we can do very ably. To be good stewards and remain loyal stewards in God's household. To be responsible and accountable as Eliakim, who was put in place of shepherd. We are invited to open up new ways to be church, to be family, through authentic unity, through accepting diversity, through respect for dialogue, and making constructive criticisms, if necessary. As people vested with authority, we have to be prophetic in pointing out the vision the people should have. These are days of great preparation in the United States of America, preparing for elections. These are days to be prophetic in our vision for the good of this great nation. So we should pray that the spirit of prophecy descends upon every Catholic and every baptized, to remain prophetic even as we cast the vote. That our intentions and minds rhyme just exactly with the mind and thinking and the action of God. We have to use the authority we have to open closed doors and allow Christ to enter and reign. The authority we have it should be used to admonish, to correct, to reprove, to instruct, as it is given in the second letter of Timothy, chapter 3, verses 16 to 17. The scriptures we have are a special wealth and a special key that we can use to open new avenues of life and life. The power to pray will also make a change. Remember in the Acts of the Apostles, when they were imprisoned, they prayed, the gates shook, and everything unlocked. This key we have. Let's use it to unlock where we are held prisoners. The power to praise and the power to act in obedience. We know in the Acts of the Apostles, the deacon Philip, whom the Spirit told that go on the street of Gaza, and there you shall find an Ethiopian, and have him get baptized. The authority we have is to be obedient to the promptings of the Spirit, who will lead us to the exact place, at the right time, to the right people. Spirit of obedience is key to new life, to new avenues of peace and love. Let's use all these keys made available to us as they were placed on the shoulder of Peter and on the shoulder of Eliakim, that we as well may use them most usefully. The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.